how can you, we get more people to know us, you, me, and build trust far away. So build relationships. Yeah, I suppose that's all part of it. But how can you get more people to know you, Suraj? Because obviously they've got to come across you first for you to actually then build a relationship. Share your story. Really powerful. So one of the ways that you can get more people to know you is by sharing your story. Now, I know for some of you that'll be like, I'm not telling everyone about my business. You haven't got to tell them everything, warts and all, but most certainly if there's been parts of your life where you've had to overcome something which has been holding you back, then, that could be very inspirational for other people. Like I said earlier, the meeting or the interview that I've just done with Natalie will prove very inspiring for people who listen, as it shows overcoming adversity. So share your story, share the story about a member of your family, share common challenges. I love that, Suraj. Yeah, share some common challenges. How can you establish the challenges that you're sharing are common? What are some of the ways that you can find out if the challenge that you're going through is something that other people are going through? Ask the question. Ask the question of the people that you're already working with. Ask them what their challenges were before they worked with you. Because again, a challenge that somebody else has gone through that you've been able to help them with, you can share that, and other people who may be going through the same thing will probably think, I wonder if that person can help me. So does anybody else want to add? So how can I get more people to know me and build trust? How can we get more people to know us? Something I'd like to add to that is you can get more people to know you by being consistent, and making sure that you're sharing across your social media platform or platforms if you've got them. What else can you do? You could add more content to your website, an about you page. So if somebody does come across you and they want to find out more about you, your about me page on your website, it ain't static. It can be changed. If you go back to it now, some of you might realize that the content on there is probably out of date now, or you're doing something different. I know that I've been guilty of that. So I'm pretty sure some of you will be. So, go on there, change your about me page. How can you get more people? So come on, how can we get more people to know us? How can we be found by more people so that we build our followers and then go on to build trust? Any more? Okay, let's look at trust. How can we build trust? What are some of the things that you can do to build trust with somebody? Suraj, do you want to add to that? Yeah, so how do we build trust? I've actually mentioned this already. Yeah, well, one of the things that you can do to build trust is to be consistent. When you're consistent, people can almost set their time by you. When you're consistent, people can almost, they know your behavior. So my Facebook's playing around. They know what you're going to do before you do it. Because your actions are always consistent. Well, what else? What else can we do to build trust? Yeah. Okay. We could be honest. Be honest with people. Don't lie. There's no need to lie. If someone asks you a question, you can't answer it. Just tell them the truth. I don't know. Be honest. Be honest about what you can offer. Be honest about any shortcomings that you may have. At the end of the day, people value honesty. They value, you being upfront with them, because that will win you more favors than maybe hiding something from them, which is going to impact them later on down the line. Honor your commitments. And, these are all the kind of same things if you think about it, guys. Consistency, be honest, honor your commitments. If you say you're going to do something, do it. Do it. It's going to really build trust with you and others when they know that, this person says they're going to do something, they get on with it. I like that, Suraj. Share content that relates to their challenges. Brilliant. Another thing as well to build trust is admit when you're wrong. Nobody likes a know-it-all. Joanne Baldy, hey, girlfriend! Long time no see. Hope you're well. Yeah, admit when you're wrong. You know, it's a tough thing, admitting when you're wrong. It's an ego thing. It's nothing to do with business. It's purely ego. Get rid of your ego and admit when you're wrong. Again, people will respect you for that. Joanna has said, manage expectations. Really, really, really powerful one. I remember speaking to a VA last year who she got all these clients on, and because she hadn't set boundaries and managed their expectation of what she was going to do for them, she ended up doing everything for them outside of what she wanted to do, which ended up costing her more money and a lot of stress because she was having to go off and learn different skills. So yeah, manage expectations. That builds trust. You know, if your client knows this is your limitation, then they ain't going to come to you with anything that you can't do. If you haven't told them, well, this is all I do, and then they come to you with something else, and you say, well, you know, I'm not really sure I can do that. You know, it could go a long way to kind of fragmenting that relationship. Does anybody else want to add to that? How we can build trust with potential customers, prospects, leads? One of my favorite ones here is communicate effectively. Use the language of your customer. Don't use industry language. I was doing a overview yesterday with a gentleman, and I asked him what he did. And 20 minutes later, he was still talking. And the only thing I heard was buzzwords for everything that he did. So I stopped him and I said, hold on a minute. If you start talking to me about all the stuff I don't understand, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to switch off. You need to make it sound simple. I need to be able to visualize what you're saying and say, yeah, I get that. And the example I used, which you can use this yourself. I remember speaking to my mum once about website hosting, and she went, Nigel, what is this hosting you're talking about? I says, right, mum. Imagine your kitchen cupboard is a server. That's the host. Imagine this plate is your website. That plate goes in the cupboard. So that's the host, and your website is stored on the host. Does that make sense? You went, yes, I get it now. Why she asked me that question, I'll never know. But, you know, break it down, make it easy. You know, if you're selling websites, don't say to them, oh, I'm going to create the latest JavaScript, HTML part 2 code, blah, 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 blah. Who cares? You know, make it simple. I'm going to create a traffic generating website for you that gets to the top of Google or gets on the first page of Google. People understand that, but don't understand the little bits that sit behind it. So communicate effectively. How else can you build trust? How else can you build trust? And, you know, we've pretty much answered this already, but be vulnerable. You know, we're humans. We're not robots. No one wants to work with a robot. People want to work with other people that they know have emotions like them, have fears like them, you know, feel pain like them. Be vulnerable. You know, it's difficult for a lot of people to show vulnerability online, and I'm just as guilty as anybody else. I mean, I'm vulnerable now. I'm like, oh my God, I'm talking, and it's just me, and I've got to keep talking. But that vulnerability, it shows people that you're real. You know, I don't want to work with a robot. So I always, when I work with people, I look for people who are real. So be vulnerable. That will build trust, because again, people know that, look, you know, they're being authentic, they're being their real self. They're not putting on an act just to be online. Anything else that you can add to that, people watching, as to how to build trust? Be helpful. Be helpful. Nothing wrong with being helpful, you know. I mean, we've gone through a real crazy time, you know, for the last 2 years, and people need help, whether that's someone to speak to, someone to vent at, someone who's just there, just to, you know, listen to them. You know, someone who's maybe stuck, but they just need that little bit of help to get over it. You know, be that person, be that helpful person. That will build trust. And it works. It works. It really does truly work. And it's just a nice thing to do. If you can help someone, help them. Good grief, don't hold back. What else can you do to build trust? Joanna's on a roll today. Be respectful and don't diss others. Joanna, this is such a youthful word that the youths use. I'd probably use the word don't be horrible. But yeah, be respectful. You know, at the end of the day, if you ain't got something positive to say, you haven't got to say anything. You know, is it better to throw out negativity, or is it, or just shut up? You know, if you're feeling that, you know, you haven't got the energy to be positive, don't share that negative energy, you know, and infect everybody else. You know, it's better that you maybe take a person to the side and say, listen, let's have a conversation. I'm feeling a bit crap today. I need someone to talk to. But don't go out of your way to diss other people. A, it makes you look bad, and B, it makes you look bad. So just don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. As my nan would say, if you ain't got nothing good to say, don't say nothing. Joanna, down with the kids. So am I think. I've got one more here, actually. How can you get more people to trust you? Show people that you care. Show them that you care. You know, you care about them, you care about yourself, you care about the environment, you care about others. You know, these are all things which will help you build trust with people who are either just getting to know you or are building that relationship with you.